Hello students, I am Joyati Dotto, teacher of English of Jharia Gopal Chandra High School. I have come here to teach you lesson 6 of your class 10 book Sea Fever by John Masefield. Let's start. At first, a lucid reading. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by, and the wheels kick and the wind song and the white sails shaking, and a grey mist on the sea's face and a grey dawn breaking. I must go down to the seas again, to the call of the running tide, is a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying, and the flung spray and the blown spume, and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gull's way and the wheel's way, where the wind's like a whetted knife, and all I ask is a merry yearn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trek's over. So let's explain. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky. Actually, John Masefield, or the narrator of this poem, is very much fond of traveling from one place to another, and he has a high desire, a high thirst for traveling. That's why he wants to go to sea. And you should mark one particular word again. That means this is for the second time or the third time or for the fourth time, we don't know. But this is he is going to the sea for more than one occasion, to the lonely sea and the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by. So for making a sea voyage, it's very important. The polster is very important, because without the polster they can't decide the direction to which they should follow. So for the sea travelers, for the sea voyagers, it's extremely important, the polster. Therefore he also wants a polster to guide him. And the wheels squeak and the wind song and the white sails shaking, and a grey mist on the sea's face and the grey dawn breaking. Wheels squeak and the wind song, these are the technical terms, and these are the things that actually associated with a sea voyage. Wheels kick, without the wheels kick, a sail or a ship cannot sail. And the wind song, it's very important. Without the support of the wind, a ship can never go ahead. And the white sail shaking, once upon a time there were ships which were actually driven by the help of the sail. And so the shaking of the sail is very important. A shaking of the sail happens only when there is the support, continuous support of wind. So without the supportive wind, without the shaking of the sail, a sea voyage is quite impossible. So therefore John Masefield highly desires these things: wheels kick, wind song, and the white sails shaking, because he feels a desire to make a sea voyage. I must go down to the seas again, for the call of the running tide is a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. This is very important. Actually, the call of the tide for a sea voyager, the call of the tide is very important. The call of the tide always always beckons to the sea voyager. The call of the tide is quite irresistible. Actually, it is irresistible. It creates an irresistible impulse to go to the sea. Therefore, John Masefield desires to have the call of the... Actually, he has already got the call of the running tide. Therefore, in order to respond to the call, he should make a sea voyage, and he ultimately decides to make a sea voyage. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying. Actually, windy day means, the day full of wind. The day full of wind is very important for a sea voyager, because a windy day is important. Otherwise, you would not get the support of the wind, and at that time there was no, automatic engine. So wind is very important. Windy day is very important for a sea voyager. And actually, the domestic people who are very much fond of leading a very domestic life, They don't like the windy day because windy day may have some short of calamities, but the people who are daredevil, who are free-hearted people and who love to go to the sea voyage, they really prefer the windy day. Windy day is very important for them, and that's the adventurous attitude that they have. And all I ask is the windy day with the white clouds flying. The clouds are flying in the sky. The day is windy. You just think of the situation, and that sort of situation is very much enjoyed by the people who are fond of doing sea voyage. And the flying spray and the blown spume and the seagulls crying. It's a totally marine atmosphere, Flying spray. The spray, the very tiny water droplets are flung, and the spume, they are also blown, and the seagulls, seagull is a marine bird, seagulls crying all over. Seagulls are hovering and they are flying and they are making shrill calls, and the narrator of the poem, he is enjoying the entire situation very much. The last stanza: I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the Gulf's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like a whetted knife, and all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trick's over. So I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life. It's important. The vagrant gypsy life, that means the person who is very much fond of doing sea voyage, he is not satisfied with the domestic way of life. Rather, he prefers a gypsy life, a vagrant life. Gypsy life and vagrant life means you are crossing the boundary of the domestic life. That's very important. You are crossing the boundary of the domestic life. It's very important. And they are not at all satisfied with the domestic way of life. They are not at all satisfied with the regularities. Rather, they enjoy the irregularities of a domestic vagrant life. Therefore, they want to enjoy the vagrant life, to the Gulf's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like a whetted knife. They don't like the way the domestic people, they don't like the way the domestic people's lives go. Rather, they enjoy the way the Gulfs lead their life, the whales lead their life, and actually they enjoy the winds like a whetted knife. Whetted knife, when the wind is not at all comfortable for the domestic people, but for the people who are sea voyager, for them such a kind of wind is also enjoyable. Therefore, they want irregularity, they want adventure, and they, at any cost, they want to break the boundary that a domestic man is supposed to attest with. Therefore, they try to break it. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover. And what he wants is just a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover. Laughing fellow rover means fellow rover means a companion who is very laughing, who is very jolly, and that sort of companion is very important for doing such a sea voyage. And the yarn means the tales, the chats. These tales and chats are very important because whenever we do a sea voyage, we need that sort of companion, the companion who is very much jolly and who always fills the entire atmosphere with mirth and jolliness. That sort of companion, that sort of fellow rover is important. And quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trick's over. And when the entire sea voyage is over, the long trick is over, what remains with us is the memory. The memory remains with us. The long trick is over. Now the sailor has come back home. So what he would enjoy? He would keep enjoying the thing, that is the memory. He would ruminate, he would cherish the memory forever in his heart. And that's very important. And he will keep dreaming over the voyage that he once upon a time underwent. So this is very important. And this is what sea fever is. So I should I should like to mention one thing, that is the title, sea fever. You should take note of it. Sea fever, look at the title, sea fever. Fever, fever is a sort of illness, but here it is not stated as illness. Rather, sea fever, you should say it is such a kind of feeling that it is as deep as a fever. It is something like a fever. That means in order to drive home the intensity of the feeling, this title sea fever has been given here. So this is a fantastic piece of poetry. It's a fantastic poem. John Masefield has written the feeling which a sailor has for sea, how much passionate a sailor is about the sea voyage, has been very aptly expressed in this poem. I think you have understood the entire matter. So keep trying to understand the meaning in your house when you will be reading it. And obviously, I think you will get the meaning of the poem by your heart. Thank you.